welcome. We're excited to share some insights. Today, we'll be covering some key aspects of the school. We'll be talking a little bit more about the network of BASIS international and bilingual schools. We'll also be sharing some details of the benefits of the expat package that we do offer in China, as well as talking about some of the visa requirements and some things to be aware of as you consider a possible opportunity of a career with BASIS international bilingual schools. We'll finish up with a Q&A at the end. So if you do have questions, there is a Q&A functionality. So in the menu at the bottom of your screen, if you just hit Q&A, you can submit questions to us along the way, and then we'll be answering all the questions at the end of the presentation. To be presenting today, I am Tim Smith, Vice President of Global Talent with BASIS International Schools. I'm joined today by John Quirk, who's the head of school at BASIS International School, Park Lane Harbour, as well as Diana Martinez-Yagi, who is the international recruiter that works specifically with our school in Park Lane Harbour. So today, as we share some insights about Park Lane Harbour, sometimes we get asked the question of, where is Park Lane Harbour? Sometimes you can't find it on a map. It's more of an area within it's the municipality of Huizhou, which is just an hour and a half from Shenzhen, an hour and a half from Hong Kong, and it's a coastal resort community. So excited to be having some insights on the school, the location, the area, and to do so, I'm pleased to present to you and introduce to you John Quirk. John Quirk is the head of school at our school there in Park Lane Harbour. So John, welcome. Thanks for joining us today, and we look forward to having you share some great insights about the wonderful school we have in Park Lane Harbour.
Thanks very much, Tim, for the introduction. Good morning from here in Park Lane Harbour. Good evening, I think, probably to most of you who have joined us. As Tim said, my name is John Quirk. I'm the head of school here at BASIS International School, Park Lane Harbour. I'm in my second year as head of school here. I'm in my 11th year as a head of school. I've spent most of my career in New England boarding schools, actually, before making the move here to China a few years back. So very eager to talk a little bit about our school with you, give you some insight into what we're doing that's special to us or maybe unique to us, and also to kind of tee up the later on conversation that Tim will be having with you about the larger workings of the network. So just a little word about our school, kind of what we're like. You just saw a picture of us up on the hill. BASIS International School, Park Lane Harbour. It's like it's kind of like a jewel sort of pressed into a mountain overlooking the ocean in this little area called Park Lane Harbour, which is part of the city of Huizhou. As Tim said, it's about an hour and a half from Shenzhen, about an hour and a half west of Shenzhen, east of Shenzhen. Similar distance from Hong Kong, and we're about maybe 35 or 40 minutes south of the city center of Huizhou. We're a medium-sized school here along the ocean. We're about 750 students, really grades 5 through 12, though we've added a primary school, or beginning to add a primary school. We have our first kindergarten class this year, and we will add first grade next year and kind of grow the population to close the gap so that we're a full K through ECE through 12 school within 3 years. We're a relatively young school, like many of the schools in our network. Only been open since 2018. We had our first full graduating class last year, 54 students. Really very exciting thing, great accomplishment for a school to get open, of course, just to get open. But then to see your first set of graduates is really something else. So, as I said, we're a school of about 750 students. Probably 600 of the students live here on campus in a 5-day boarding configuration. Most of them go home to Shenzhen during the weekend. Some faculty live on campus. Most of our faculty live off campus, and many of them live in great places along the beach. It's really a great community to live in. Just a quick word about our boarding culture here, where it's very much a part of our school that we are a boarding culture, and we're thinking carefully about the things we can do outside of our classrooms to really enhance the teaching and learning of the students, the whole student, beyond the academic and intellectual growth we want them to have. Kind of a nice part of our setup, though, here is that the teaching faculty are really free to do their teaching and the residential part is handled by local staff. So there's a cultural opportunity, programmatic opportunity to have the kids around all the time, and that's really great and forms the kind of backbone of our community. But in terms of teacher expectations, teachers are really primarily working in a day program, between 8 and 4:30 or so each day. Tim, if you can go ahead and advance the slide. So just a few pictures. I'd like to spend most of my time talking about the upper left-hand picture. Just kidding, that's me at the Voice of Park Lane Harbour competition last year. I start there not because I was kind of surprised to see that picture show up in the slideshow, but actually I'm kind of glad it did. It's a pretty good slide of what the community is like. We do a lot of things here, a lot of events, things like the Voice of Park Lane Harbour, or if you look at the middle slide down at the bottom, our TEDx event that we had last year was really incredible. The drama production that's represented down in the bottom right there. It's a very full and rich place. We're working very hard in our classrooms, but we're also working very hard to keep our community kind of together and knitted together throughout all different phases of student activity. Tim, go ahead. So a couple of pictures of our campus, and then I'm going to kind of back up and talk a little bit more about our program. That middle picture in the top, you can really see what I mean. The area of Park Lane Harbour, it's just a gorgeous area. It's a kind of a village along the ocean that's ringed by mountains, and the school is like halfway up one of these mountains, kind of looking out. You can see the sea. So all the way down the coast. It's really just an incredible spot. Our school is kind of more tall than sprawling, right? It's very, because of the geography of where we are, it's pretty big vertically, but not horizontally. And you can see the way the buildings are really kind of pressed into the mountain, into the mountainside there. The middle bottom picture is from our outside cafeteria, our outside canteen, looking out across the pond and what we call the avenue of our school. The avenue is the spine of the school. Really, everything that happens at school happens along the avenue. Kids come up from the dorms that way. It's how you come up onto campus. It's kind of a nice feature of our campus. If you need to find somewhere you need to do some business at school, there's a good chance you'll find them there in the morning or leaving school in the afternoon. In the bottom right, you can see a really cool new facility here. Our observatory just opened this year. It actually opened very late last spring, but this has been the first year we've been able to use it programmatically. It's allowed us to add astronomy programs, and even better than astronomy programs, it's really developed quite a following. We have a kind of a Pied Piper astronomy teacher who's in there all the time at night and has kids in there all the time looking at Jupiter, looking at Saturn, looking at the moon, kind of looking at the universe. So the night sky is dark and clear here. We have great air quality here in Park Lane Harbour, and it's a really great place for an observatory. So it's been a fun thing, and because we're boarding school, kids are around at night and able to take advantage of that. The upper right hand corner is a picture of one of our two cafeterias. We have an indoor cafeteria or a canteen. And then, as I mentioned before, there's an outdoor one down below. It's covered, but it's outdoors, and that is the exact view across that little pond there that you see if you have lunch. If you have lunch there, I'd like to just back up, if I could, a little bit. I've introduced you kind of physically to our school and what the population of our school looks like, but I'd like to just talk a bit about our program and maybe a bit about our culture and our colleagues and our community. Like every good school that's ever existed, we have a mission that we're into and trying to accomplish. Ours really calls for transformative growth for students and the preparation for them to be good critical and creative problem solvers and leaders out there in the world. In addition, here in Park Lane Harbour, we have a vision that's maybe unique to us, I think, in the way that we express it, but very important to us in the way that we live it. And it's a very aspirational vision. It really calls for us to think of ourselves as trying to be one of the finest boarding schools in China or anywhere. I have worked at some really great boarding schools, and I know what that means and what that takes and what the benefit is for children living and learning in that environment is. But it also calls for this, like I said, very aspirational idea that, we really want our kids when they graduate from here, someday upon reflection, it might be when they're in graduate school or when they have jobs or when they have families, when they're out in their life, upon reflection that they look back at this time that they spent with us and they know for sure that they really had the best teaching they ever got in their lives. They did some of the best learning and growing they ever got in their lives. They know that they were cared for, maybe by more people and in a stronger community than they ever were going to be in their lives. And it doesn't mean the rest of their lives were not successful. It means that this time really truly was transformational and important and formative in the time at this time in their lives. So we have very, very high aspirations for the work that we do here. Our kids are they're incredible. Actually, we have amazing students here. They are existing within. They come here to take our AP program. They are interested in attending, eventually matriculating at top 20 schools, and usually in the West, but top schools around the world. They are all come to us, pretty much all of them come to us as English second speakers, and they are highly proficient in academic English usage by the time that they're ninth graders and entering into the AP program by the time that they're ninth graders. They take their work very seriously. They are respectful and interested in being around adults and learning from us what it is they can learn from us. They work. Boy, I've been around a lot of great kids in my career. I've never really been around more great kids all at the same time and in the same place who were working harder and had higher aspirations and were more committed to it than our kids are. A typical kid here might take 10 APs in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. Some of them are above a dozen. I have a girl in class right now who was taking 15. Super high achieving kids, but super high achieving kids that are really nice kids, polite, respectful, fun, eager to be engaged in their work. The kids, of course, have to be met by a faculty that will embrace that and understand that. Our students, there was a book, I'm not even sure when it was. I think it was in the late 90s. The students are always watching, I think it was called. And that's always true at all grade schools. The students are always, they're learning their content and they're taking their tests and they're doing their work, but they're also observing the adults that they see around them as models, as the kind of the curriculum of the school. And then there's like the curriculum of the faculty, or maybe even the curriculum of an individual teacher in a classroom. And so we know when we hire folks here, we have to hire people who are subject experts. They're very knowledgeable in their subject area. Kids press us. They're going to challenge us. So we have to be great in our content area. We have to be strong pedagogically and experienced pedagogically. We have very high expectations for the way the learning environments in our classroom. We have to understand performance outcomes. This is a culture that values performance outcomes, and that college part is very important to our students and their families and important to our network. And they also have to be people who are, in addition to all those things I've just said, they have to be people that are very interested in this growth and development of the kids in their care, not just as mathematicians, but as young people. Phrase I throw around here a lot. I think people kind of probably tease me about it behind my back, but it's what I believe in. They're not just students. We're really kind of talking about citizen scholars, kids who are knowledgeable and skillful intellectually, but really understand community and their own part in it and the way they can take agency and lead in it. So it's quite a place we have going here. We're a top-notch school, academically producing very strong graduates. We are, in my opinion, a top-notch community, producing really important experiences for kids within a community, helping them learn how to be part of something bigger than themselves. And as a faculty community, it's just a great professional learning community. Hard work during the day, lots of community at night, lots of support for each other. It's not always been an easy time sometimes recently to be in China. It hasn't really affected us that much as a boarding school, but it's not so easy, with COVID and other things going on. But for us here, the community has really has been supported people through that in the few instances when there were challenges. And I think if you come to work at a place like this, you're going to have a great professional experience, but you're going to have a great personal experience too. Tim, you want to go ahead and advance the advance the slide. So this is, I said earlier on that Park Lane Harbour is this really incredible place. In the picture to the right there, you're looking down the beach. Actually, in my apartment is one of those buildings there along the beach. This is a very interesting area. It's a resort area being built. Has been being developed for about 20 years, really to serve the combined cities of Guangzhou, Shenzhen, Hong Kong, and Huizhou. And so it's just this incredible natural place, that big long stretch of beach, great walking trails, the mountains behind. It's really beautiful kind of country living. But as a resort town, it's also been very committed to, you have to build amenities, if you want people to come visit your resort town. And so it's a very dynamic place. There's always, new stores opening and restaurants and things opening up like that. It's kind of the best of both worlds. It's actually the best of three worlds, I think I would say. There's this beautiful, natural, kind of quiet opportunity to live here. There's plenty of amenities in and around to support here. And of course, we're really very close to those cities I mentioned before, especially Shenzhen and Huizhou. Very easy to get back and forth from those cities. So, I think it's kind of a little bit of a triple threat of a place to live. Spectacular, natural, quiet living, lots of places to be outside, lots of places to explore, great jumping off place to see other places in China, amenities that you need close by and reasonably convenient. And then, big cities that you can get to relatively easily. A lot of folks head off to Shenzhen to the weekend, for the weekend, or Guangzhou or into Huizhou. So it's we have kind of the best of all worlds here. It is an area that's growing quickly. I mean, they continue to build apartments. They have a high volume of folks that they expect to be coming here. It's really hopping, especially in the summer between like April and kind of now. I guess the tourist season's kind of starting to end, but it's a pretty exciting and interesting area. One of the benefits for those of us who work at our school is that all this inventory of apartments in the area make it very easy and affordable to live out in town. About 20% of our faculty live on campus. The rest of us live in the kind of area that we're looking at, sort of in the on that picture that shows the beach, which is about maybe a kilometer from our campus or so. So it's a pretty nice place to live. Tim, you want to advance the slide? There's a couple more pictures. That the one to the left actually shows you can almost see our school. That the mountain off in the closer mountain off to the distance is the mountain I was talking about that our school is kind of pressed into. That strand of beach there that you see is part of a little kind of village downtown area where there's kind of stores and bars and restaurants and kind of places to hang out. There's a big hotel right there, places to rent boats and do that kind of stuff. The picture in the bottom right kind of shows, if you looked kind of back inland from our campus, you can see it's rural. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful here. On the picture at the top, it's interesting. It looks like maybe there's a rainstorm or a thunderstorm coming there. I'm guessing that picture was taken in the heat of the summer. It is tropical. It's hot here in the summer. But give you a little bit of a sense of the, there's parts of Park Lane Harbour that feel city-like. That picture right there shows the main road kind of driving through it. But the other two pictures, I think, give you a sense of the balance between, the developed areas of the village and the more natural areas of the village. Tim, why don't we take it to the next slide there? So just as before I turn it back over to Tim, who's going to talk about the next section on this, I want to just kind of wrap up by saying our school, we're part of this kind of larger network, and we, I think, are very competitive. So I want to say we're the best. I don't mean we're the best. I think we have the best opportunity to take advantage of the network. We're kind of unique within the network. All of our network schools are in cities, except for ours, and most of them are not. We're primarily a boarding school, and most of the other schools are not. So there's really some things about us that have allowed us to develop a pretty unique and strong character while maintaining, the very high standards that the network has. I think one of the great benefits of our school being in part of the network is that there's some, it generates a lot of mobility for people sort of in their careers, right? You might come and start here at Park Lane Harbour, you might start in Shenzhen or somewhere. But if you're a go-getter and you're good at what you do, you can come and spend a really great chunk of time at one of these schools. And there's a very good chance there'll be great opportunity for you at the school you're at, or maybe somewhere else in China. So we've really worked hard to cultivate the unique qualities and attributes that our school has, which truly are unique. And I don't use the word lightly. I mean, we're different from some of the other schools in the network. But then we also have this core kind of soul, I guess, or something that's, kind of a basis core piece that we share in common with all the other places. So you get all the best of basis when you're here, and even better than the best of basis, you get the best of Park Lane Harbour on top of it when you're here. I hope I'll have a chance to talk to you sometime about our school.
That's great. Park Lane Harbour is always one of my favorite places. When I'm able to get to China and visit the schools, I really love Park Lane Harbour. It's such a unique, there's a unique atmosphere about it because you have this high intellectual community within a resort town type of a feel, and the teachers seem to get really close. And that's one of the things I've seen about the atmosphere and the community there is it's a really close-knit community of teachers, of educators, and you talk about the great academics, which is phenomenal. But one of the things I also like is you also have great sports facilities, and the gym that you have, the pool, you've got the pitch up kind of on the crest of the mountain, just above the campus there, and beautiful view from there, by the way. And Black Box Theater, tremendous arts and sports programs, I think, are really phenomenal, which I think is a key part of the boarding school. But what have been some things that you've seen in terms of that the teachers have really enjoyed about being part of that very unique community where you are kind of you're in a smaller community, it's a little bit more close knit? What have been some of the things they've kind of seen and enjoyed?
Well, I think that for a lot of people, people come to China or travel internationally, teach internationally for different reasons. I think if I were picking one single thing out, Tim, that probably our faculty most value here is, as they've arrived in China, it's a big place and people are interested to have adventure and travel and see things and meet new people and have new experiences. But it's not such a bad thing to be very closely rooted to a group of people that, you can rely on and count on and kind of look after you and care for you. And so, it's not that doesn't exist at other schools. It does. They have their special communities, but ours is very strong. I mean, we live together, we're close together. We do a lot of work together. We do a lot of socializing together. There's really a very common, kind of a common commitment, I think, to not just the school, but to each other. I know if you ever, read books about retaining faculty and not just faculty, any employee in any business, that it's got to be a satisfying place to work professionally, but it's also got to be a satisfying and caring place to work personally. People need to know they have colleagues that are like-minded and committed in similar ways and enjoy each other, not just while chatting over, the mysteries of the math curriculum or whatever it is they're doing. But they really enjoy each other beyond that. And they've kind of transcended the professional relationship to where they're teaching each other, growing from each other, learning from each other, enjoying each other. I think if I were picking one single thing out, I would say that. I think the second thing probably is our kids, because we're around the kids a lot, because they're here all the time, you see them in a lot of other ways that you might not see them. I was having dinner last night with some fifth graders or maybe 2 nights ago, and I was talking about this webinar, and I said to them, it was last night actually, and I said, hey, so I'm going to be talking to some people about why they should come here. Like, what do you think? What would I say to them? And of course, you never know what you're going to get from a fifth grader when you ask them some kind of serious question there. But they told me to tell you we have the best French fries. That was their so the answer French fries doesn't really matter. But what matters about that story is that's an experience you have with kids that you probably don't have in another environment, where you're really kind of seeing them as kids, not just as math kids or just as whatever, or you're going to a game up on the soccer field and you're kind of watching them compete that way, or you're watching them at TEDx, or you're really seeing them in different in kind of richer ways maybe than you might in class. And they're seeing you that way too, because we're participating in all those kinds of things. So I think those would be the top two things. Very supportive community, and they're just really, really cool, interesting kids to be around all the time.
And the food in the canteen is actually quite good. I think the last 2 times I've been there, I came away probably 5 pounds heavier than when I arrived. The chef.
The food is pretty good, and the French fries. I mean, what can I say about
the French fries? The chef has a specialty in pastries.
He does.
Very decorative pastries, and also very delicious. So great canteen that you have there as well. So appreciate that. Well, I'm going to share just a few insights and details about the network, so you can understand a little bit more about some of what we are as a network as a whole. That Park Lane is a part of. So in terms of our network, the Basis Curriculum Network is a network of schools. We do have schools in the United States, the Basis Independent Schools, and then we also have international schools in China, as well as a school in Thailand. In terms of our mission, the Basis International Schools mission is to provide students with a transformative early education and K-12 education with a cutting-edge basis curriculum through exceptional teaching and faculty mentoring. We're really looking to produce graduates who have broad intellectual capabilities, international perspectives, critical thinking proficiency, and creative problem-solving skills to be leaders in their future academic and professional lives. And one of the things that stands out as we have conversations with different teachers, people looking to join the organization, is it really is literally built into our mission that we really do focus on faculty mentoring and the development of our teachers to have continuous ongoing enhancement in the way that we engage our students, the instruction that we do have. It's a real very strong teaching and learning community that we do build across our networks. In terms of the curriculum, the Basis curriculum is it is an accelerated program. So it's rigorous. It is, again, it's a little bit more advanced. We really look to build and establish that love of learning in the primary grades. Moving into middle school, we're enhancing the academic mindset, building some of the critical thinking skills that we want people to have. And then in the high school grades, really, fostering college readiness and preparedness to engage at university level. In terms of what the results have yielded across the network as a whole, 77% of our students are accepted into top 30 universities. Over 95% are accepted into top 50 universities. So really some great universities that our students are getting into, including schools like Boston, Carnegie Mellon, Cornell, Duke, Imperial College of London, MIT, Rice, UCLA, University of Chicago, Oxford, University of Toronto, and some great art schools, including the Rhode Island School of Design. So, some really great programs that school students are able to get into and have their choice in their future academic endeavors. All right, with that, we will move on to a little bit more of some of the detail about what it's like to teach in our schools. So with that, I will pass things over to Diana Martinez-Yagi, the international recruiter that does work directly with Park Lane Harbour.
Thank you, Tim. Sorry. Why teach with Basis? That's the number one thing here. So we're very collaborative, just like John was kind of pointing out, that our teachers put in a lot of hard work. They're enjoying working with the students. They also are enjoying learning from their peers and working alongside their peers. You've got teachers from all over the world, but they're subject expert teachers. So you have a chance to kind of bounce ideas off of them, learn about different types of curricula across the world. So there's a lot of collaborative teaching a lot of collaboration amongst the teachers. Academic culture, again, like everyone is saying, we have a very rigorous, highly advanced curriculum, and our students are amazing. They truly are, like John was saying, TEDx, like who does it? I think that's so neat. The students participated in that TEDx project. It's really cool that there's a lot of high expectations that come into the students. We expect high things from them, but also we have high expectations of our teachers to work hard and to put in that extra work, just like our students have put in that extra work. our basis network. We have a very strong network that's, spread throughout 3 different countries. And so it's really amazing too. Like, we have this strong foundation, this strong network. You have the opportunity to recontract with us in the same school, or you have the opportunity to go to different schools in China, in Thailand, or back in the US. So there's amazing career growth, career opportunities to then grow in your subject or even in your position. So that's also another cool point about us. And then obviously it comes down to the students. We have amazing kids. It's really neat to see how they react to the teachers that they're learning from, but also the different subjects that they're learning, the different topics and themes that they're getting into in each of the lessons. So our kids are amazing. I wish you could come and see them and how smart they are. They are beyond amazing. And so why teach in China, or why teach in Park Lane? I mean, look at how cool that place was. It looked like Miami, some of those pictures. It's just so neat, like that right there in China. So you have this awesome experience of living in China, but then you also have this resort town that you're chilling out in and teaching in and staying in. So I think I liked how John was talking about the different bars and restaurants that were in one of the pictures you could see. I think that's so neat. Like, after school, let's go chill out on the beach and have dinner. I thought that was really neat. He was talking about the living situation. There is convenient modern living. Obviously in Park Lane, they got a special kind of housing, different apartments right there on the beach. I mean, I can't say more than that. Education is valued. The students in China are highly respectful. Their parents also respect you as a teacher. That's something that I know a lot of teachers have difficulty with in the West. Having rude students, or parents are also rude. That's something that you won't experience in China, just because the kids, the parents and the students just value education a lot more than they do I know in the United States, but in Western countries. You'll get to experience a new culture. Like I said, it's still China, but it's awesome because it's kind of like Miami, but it's still China. You get to experience this Chinese culture, which is, it's a long-standing culture, civilization. So that's kind of, something neat if you're into like Chinese language or history. Right there, like you're right there in China. Like obviously, I can't say any more about it. So come teach in China. Okay, so what is the expat package? We have a really competitive salary. So our expat package is highly competitive. There is airfare to and from China at the beginning and end of your contract for you and any dependents. Also, we have an annual return home / travel allowance we provide, which if you're really into China, and like I was saying before, the experience in the culture, there is a travel allowance that we do provide, which you can go and see the Great Wall or whatnot. So you can see Hong Kong from a distance too. That's from Park Lane. So there's a lot of travel that you can experience. We also provide visa support. So our HR team handles visas, so that's not something that you have to worry about. Just get your passport ready. We provide housing. So like John was saying, you can live on campus or you can live off campus on the beach. He did mention both of those housing locations. We do provide that fully furnished housing, or if you're going to be living off campus, we do provide a housing stipend in that event. We provide health insurance. It's a global health insurance. You can use it outside of China or within China. Also tuition benefits for up to 2 children. So we do provide tuition if you're a teaching couple, it's up to 3 children. Breakfast and lunch is served at the school. There's also a 10% retirement allowance, which you can put towards retirement plan of your choice. I know not everyone has a 401k, but a pension plan as well. There are different bonuses paid throughout the year, as well as a contract completion bonus. So our contracts are around 2 to 3 years long. So that's something to keep in mind. But again, like I was saying earlier, you can recontract with us in the same location or spread your wings and go out to different campuses throughout our network. So what are we looking for in terms of requirements for teachers? So we do need, like John was saying, that we hire subject expert teachers. So you do need a degree in the subject area that you are teaching. For elementary education, we're looking for someone with an early learning or a primary education, early years education degree. We're also looking for 2 years of full-time teaching experience. This is a visa requirement. Also a passion for teaching. Now, this is something that John was mentioning. He has a passion for being with the students, a passion for being head of schools. Like before, at the very second or the first or second slide, he was talking about the observatory, that teacher that goes in the evening to go observe planets with the students. That's the kind of passionate teacher we're looking for, a teacher that wants to go and experience these different things with the students, like French fries or the observatory or anything, like just showing, having this wonderful experience of engaging students. That's what we're looking for, someone with that passion. Before, like I was saying, someone who's willing to collaborate and learn from their peers, because again, you are teaching alongside other subject experts. You have this like different melding of minds. So you have people with the same experience, the same kind of love and passion for their subject, and you're bouncing ideas off them, people from all over the world. So that's kind of, that's a really cool thing that we are looking for. That's a requirement, someone who's flexible, willing to collaborate. Someone who has high academic standards. We do have our kids go to these Ivy League universities. We're looking for someone that really wants to work with students with that higher level of learning, higher standard. We want someone who's willing to work hard. Our kids put in so much hard work. We want you to match that. I mean, how can you imagine, like, the kids are working their hardest and you're just chilling out, don't want to even bother? I don't want that. I want someone who's really in it to put in that extra work. We want someone who can engage those young minds, take them to observatories, take them fishing and show them like the biology of fish, the environment. Like, I'm looking for someone who wants to go out there and engage these kids. There are some visa restrictions still, so that is something to keep in mind. But those are the requirements, short and tall. So working for base international schools, what can you expect? The schools mostly have local students. So I would say about 95% of students are local students. You have a sprinkling of this expat students that are children of the teachers or whatnot, but keep in mind they are local students. So they are second language learners. Yes, their English is great, just like John said, but they are second language learners. So you have to be careful about how you say things in class. Just keep be cognizant of that fact. Flexibility, like I mentioned before, we want someone who's flexible. Some of our schools are brand new, so you need to really roll with the punches in that case. We have a lot of growth happening, but just be flexible as a teacher. I think that's a big thing. Like, lots of teachers don't come in with a lesson plan and then get upset if they can't follow it 100%. No, you have to, move things around, or some things don't work out. Flexibility is a big thing. Be very mindful of if you're going to be having your children, or if you have any dependents that will be accompanying with you, because the basic curriculum is quite advanced, where we are learning physics, chemistry, and biology in the 6th grade. Lots of times, students that are coming in that are children of teachers that are maybe in 9th grade or in 8th grade, they're coming in, first of all, their social emotional growth is kind of stunted right there, but also, having to then learn physics. I mean, I never even took physics in high school. I don't think I'd be able to catch up. So to keep that in mind, if you do have a 6th grader, even a 5th grader that you're going to bring along with you, if they have to be able to keep up with us, our basic curriculum, but also keep up with moving to a new country. So that is something that you have to be careful of. Okay, and like I was talking about future growth, so we are ever expanding. Our next schools that are going to be opening are in Beijing, Shanghai, and our Guangzhou bilingual campus. We already have a Guangzhou campus, but we're going to be also integrating a Guangzhou bilingual campus. So again, continuous growth, that's what we're all about. You have the opportunity to transfer maybe, be one of the founding teachers at a new school after you've been already established in Park Lane Harbour or in one of our other schools.
Hey, well, thanks, Diana. Appreciate the insights there. So we do have a lot of insights about careers at our schools, more insights on the schools, the experience that the teachers have. We do have, pictures across our social channels. So feel free to follow us across our social channels, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest. You can also read our blog. So again, that's where teachers are sharing some of their stories, their journey, the experience they're having with BASIS International Schools in China. You can also join the interest list. If you join the interest list, then you will just receive updates, notifications of things that are happening, developments across the schools. Sometimes we'll share new positions that are opening across our network, and developments of new schools that are opening. So with that, we have reached the point of Q&A. So I know we have a couple of questions that have come in. If you do have additional questions, please feel free to submit those. One question, John, that has come up is, in a boarding program, what are the expectations of teachers in the boarding program?
Excellent question. So I think I mentioned that our local staff are primarily running the residential program after what we call the day program. So after about 5 o'clock or so, we turn the kids over to the local staff. A typical teacher's day begins with class at 8 o'clock. Everyone's on campus, between 7:30 and 8, pretty typical kind of thing, getting ready to teach. The class day runs either to 3:30 in the middle school, so grades 5 through 8, or to 4:30 in the high school, grades 9 through 12. About one day a week, exactly one day a week, teachers do have office hours kind of immediately after school for about an hour. But most of the kids after 3:30 in the middle school or 4:30 in the high school are getting off and into afternoon activities. Some of those are provided by outside vendors. They might be clubs or competition-oriented things that are going on, and someone comes in from off campus to run that. Our faculty are running some of those things. It's not required though, and you're paid for it if you do it. So we have some coaches, some teachers who coach volleyball or basketball. As Tim mentioned, we have great facilities here. Or maybe they're running a speech and debate club or something like that. But primarily, I mean, to make it really clear, the thing we most want our teachers to be able to do is to teach their subject, be really focused on their instruction, be highly prepared for class, kind of, interesting lessons available to kids, when they need help, and other kinds of things, that they're really prepared to match the academic expectation. Our kids are strong. They have high expectations for how we're going to teach them, and we have high expectations for how we want them to teach. So for the most part, people don't have evening duties. If they have selected evening duties after 4:30, it's stipended and it's not required.
Right. Thank you.
Am I able to save money working at Park Lane Harbour? That's one of the questions.
Yeah, I'm so glad someone asked this, because I was thinking about this getting ready for today. It's a kind of an interesting thing to talk about, because I guess it has a little bit to do with BASIS. I mean, our packages are excellent, right? The compensation packages are really, really great. But it's an amazing, coming to China, and especially Southern China, you can really do quite well financially. The cost of living is extremely low. Food is cheap. Travel is cheap. I mean, the things you want to do are really quite cheap. At our school, in addition, if you wanted to, you could eat all your meals at school, breakfast, lunch, and dinner too, so there's a lot of opportunity. I think for people everyone likes to save money. I think for some parts of your life, you could really come have a great 3 to 5 years here, travel all over this amazing country, see all kinds of incredible things, and really leave with quite a good chunk of savings in your pocket, and well positioned for other things that you want to do kind of later and next. It's really one of the very hidden benefits, but it is a unbelievable benefit of Southern China right now, and especially in our network, because our packages are terrific. There's a lot of extended benefits, things like retirement and those kind of things, compensation bonuses, performance bonuses during the year. And then just the things about the boarding school thing, like eating all your meals here, or maybe living on campus. You can do quite well financially if you come for a couple of years.
Another question was, what support do we have in place for teachers coming to Park Lane? So teachers maybe that are coming from overseas or even from inside of China, what supports do you have in place?
So our HR department is really just incredible. You know, the visa process is requires guidance and help. It's not really that complicated. It's just nice to have someone who knows what's going on. I find I actually tell people, I sort of prepare them when I'm trying to hire, when I've hired them and I've made an offer. I say, okay, you know, you've signed the contract. I'm going to send your contract off to HR and like prepare yourself, because they're about like 35 seconds after they get the contract, you're going to hear from one of them, and they're going to get you going on the visa process, and then they're going to get you going on the relocation process, and then they're going to get you going on the how do you get your family here process, and they're going to, you know, and if you got pets, they're going to be talking about your pets here process. I mean, they're really, really remarkable people, and I think they just know that for people to arrive, I mean, for a lot of people, if they're coming from overseas, especially, or bringing a family, especially, it's not an easy thing, you know, to relocate to another whole country. And so they're, I think, very sensitive to that. We all know that we have to do our absolute best if we want our folks to arrive on the first day of school, totally ready to teach, 100% ready to teach. They have to be well supported and well acclimated between whenever they prepare to get on the plane and then arrive here in China. The HR has really distinguished itself in addition, I think, in the current time. They've always been super helpful with things like, you know, banking needs or setting up your WeChat or just things you just need to kind of exist and sort of get by in life here, or directing you to, I don't know, what, a dry cleaner or where you get your shoes fixed or something. A lot of local knowledge there. But you know, during COVID times have been very helpful too, because you need to understand if you're going to some area of the country where there might be restrictions or something, you want to make sure you understand that. They're very supportive there. They're extremely kind, which matters a lot when you're far away from home. They're extremely competent, which matters a lot when you're dealing with kind of competent things. And they're really sort of ever present and ever ready with anything. We're very well supported that way. And then there is kind of the extended community too, outside of HR, who's very helpful. But those folks are really the stars of that process, I think.
Okay. One of the other questions is, this is kind of what I was going off of with bringing children over, but it says, what should teachers with children consider about like Park Lane Harbour? What should teachers be aware of that have children coming to Park Lane?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things. I think the Diana, you referred to it, you know, sort of in your part of the presentation. It's a rigorous academic program. And it's probably a little bit ahead of where your kids might, it depends where you're coming from, of course, but where your kids might be. And so, you know, I just think that, you know, in what is going to be a big and great experience, which I'll talk about in a second, I think really thinking through that academic fit is important. Like you would think through it anytime you sent your kids to school anywhere, right? You'd ask yourself, you know, is this a great place for my kid to go to school? Can they thrive here and be successful here? You know, so, you know, I don't say that because I don't want it to be scary to anyone or off-putting to anybody. I think if you have kids, that's the thing you think about all the time, right? How am I fitting them into whatever the next thing that they're going to do is? I'll tell you, one of the really cool things, you know, I'm a traveler. I think there's so much to learn of the world, and I think two things to think about as a family, if you're thinking of coming here, is that there is really no better time for young people to be exposed to international experience, and especially this one. China is a very quickly changing, dynamic place, taking different role in the world. It's really a very, as an American, I think for anybody, but especially as an American, I think it's a very good time to try to understand this culture, which has so many strengths to it, has incredible history to it. I mean, there's a lot here. It's a very good time, I think, for young people to be exposed to it. But it's also, I don't really know what the right phrase for it is. I've never been anywhere that's more family oriented than China. I mean, this is a place that has a profound history going all the way back to the Han Dynasty, you know, of kind of the family filial relationships and how important these things are. And it's everywhere you look. I mean, families are together. They care about how their kids are raised. They want their cities safe and clean. They want good learning opportunities for their kids. I mean, it's really a remarkably family friendly, such a throwaway line, but it really is an incredibly family friendly and enriching place, I think, for families and kids. So, in some ways, the advice is just do what you would do always with your kids. Make sure they have the right fit for whatever it is they're going to encounter next. If the school's the right fit, I promise you the rest of the experience will be a tremendous fit. They'll be talking about it for the rest of their lives, and they'll be better off for the rest of their lives for having experienced it.
Cool. One of the other questions is there a place to go grocery shopping or like shopping in general?
Yeah, well, one of the really cool, there's stores and grocery stores and, places to go shopping. I mean, if you're really like a shopper, you'd probably go, like you wanted to shop all day and kind of go to malls and do all that kind of stuff. There are some malls here pretty close by, but you might go to Shenzhen or do something like that. But actually the best thing about China, that's not true. There's many great things about China. A really cool thing about China is you don't actually need to shop ever. Everyone brings you everything. I mean, it's really amazing the kind of delivery culture, that is here. So I can walk down 50 yards from my house or my apartment and go to the grocery store, or I could get on my phone and order from NoGo and have my groceries arrive maybe that night, or certainly like the next morning. It's pretty incredible that way. So there's a lot of accessibility to like physical stores and amenities that you need that way, but it's also an amazing delivery culture here.
Cool. And I think there's just one more question. What about PD? Like, what can you tell me about professional development at Basis or at Park Lane Harbour?
Sure. So Tim, I'll talk both about the network generally, and then a little bit about our school. Tim mentioned our commitment to this. We have a kind of a phrase that we use in a lot of our teaching and learning, sort of conversation. It's this faculty led culture of professional excellence, and it's really the idea there is that, most people get to be better at what they do just by experience. If you go work someplace and you work hard for 3 years, hopefully you're going to be better at it than you were when you walked through the door. But we don't want that. Like we really want you to feel that when you left here, you have really advanced in your practice. That you're not just a 3 or more experienced teacher. You're a deeper, richer, broader, like more experience in more different ways. So we take that very seriously. There's a couple of things that we're doing here about that at Park Lane Harbour and around the network. It's very much a culture of observational evaluation and feedback and coaching. So, our new teachers, for example, have probably been observed. I mean, the goal is 5 times by the beginning of November, and they've probably all been observed 5 or 6 times already. That's not to be threatening and meddling and mucking around. That's to make coaching relationships, with the admin or department chairs or colleagues. We do a lot of coaching of each other that way, trying to build self-reflective practice in the cognitive coaching model or the adaptive schools model. If you've not been in that environment before, it feels a little bit weird at first, but right immediately after that, it feels great. I mean, it's so great to be talking with people. All good teachers want to be better teachers, and to be talking with people who are watching you and observing you and coaching you that way is terrific. Here at our school, we're doing quite a bit of our professional learning through professional learning communities, and currently we have 5 areas going on there: vertical alignment, horizontal alignment, data use for instructional guidance, multiple instructional strategies, and rubrics. And so that's been pretty interesting for us as well. It's kind of homegrown professional development and growth, but it's really good professional development and growth because it's sincere and authentic and applicable immediately, sort of in our classroom. So, we're very committed to this. This is not. It's been an interesting thing for me. I've worked in environments where faculty, international schools, tenures aren't as long. People don't stay, for 15 years or something. They might stay for 5 or 6 years. And so the timeline of professional growth is a little bit maybe tighter than it might be in some of those other environments. But I've always really believed that right behind making sure the kids have everything they need, if you're not attracting a great faculty and you're not spending a crazy amount of time developing them, that you'll never retain them. And of course, the ceiling for your school's growth will be pretty low. I mean, our school may be beautiful. We may have great kids. We're a well-supported network. We're a resource. We're all those things. But we all know the school is the faculty in the end, right? And if you're not attracting, developing, and retaining top flight faculty, you can be a good school, but you'll never quite reach your aspirations.
So thank you, John. Thank you for that.
Thank you for having me, guys. I hope there's some people on here, or maybe people who will someday in the future kind of watch this, watch this presentation. I promise you're missing out if we don't have a conversation about this great school. It might turn into a job or not, might turn into be the thing for you or not. Maybe we have a position or not. But this is a pretty extraordinary place in an extraordinary network at a really pretty amazing time to be in this part of the world. Here, it happens to be that we have some unique qualities that maybe make us more attractive. We have a very strong team. We're doing a lot of good work. So, I in the just very little bit you've seen me today, you probably can guess I could talk a lot about why I think this is a great thing, but I'm eager to. Okay, and so whether it bears fruit professionally or not, I hope we'll get a chance to connect about this experience and what it could maybe mean to you, or kind of what you're thinking in your own next steps. I really appreciate the time I've gotten.
Great. Well, John, thanks for joining us and sharing a lot of great insights about Park Lane Harbour. I just, I love the campus and love when I have conversations with the teachers there. They talk about how much they enjoy being there, the great community of exceptional educators to get to be a part of. They love the weekend trips that the school arranges and coordinates for everybody as well. So great social support as well as the academic support. So great, appreciate your time. And so again, please feel free to follow us through our social channels. You can apply directly with us at jobs.basisinternationalschools.com. And we look forward to having a chance for conversation with some really great teachers. Thanks a lot, everybody. John, again, thanks for sharing your insights.
Have a good evening, everybody. Take care.
Take care.